So when it comes down to it, a lot of us don't really necessarily have the resources to go out and smell things in the real world before you end up purchasing them. Yeah, you can walk into a retailer and maybe they'll have what you're looking for available in a tester format. You could spray it on your skin or on a tester strip and smell it. And yeah, maybe you'll stand there and get badgered by the sales associate who claims that they know so much more than you and that they're an expert when they're really just trying to do their job, even though it is super annoying. That is one way you can go about things. In other ways, you could go onto decant websites. There's a lot of them out there, and from that point, you can buy samples and that sort of thing. It's also a great way to go. In a lot of cases, sampling before buying is really the smart move. I don't do it, but I have a channel where I can justify these purchases. The average person, they can't really do that. But there are instances where you just can't go wrong with a blind buy. And of course, even at this point, it's still going to be personal preference. It's still going to be a very subjective thing. But the success rate of these 12 fragrances when it comes to blind buying is very high. These are likable. These are just so easy to wear, so easy to enjoy, and they're just super mass pleasing. And so because of that, you can imagine that clicking on this video, you're not going to get anything that's super unique here or super out of the ordinary. We're going to be going over 12 fragrances that you can blind buy and never go wrong with. You're always going to win when you pick these up on a blind purchase. And we'll link these down below so you can pick these up at a price below retail, which is also important to do if you are blind buying. If you're going to be buying online, you might as well buy through discounters, reputable discounters, where you can save some money. So use those links, save some money. Also get subscribed because on my community tab, I'm posting deals every single day, multiple times a day. If you want to save money and get the best deals possible, that's the place you want to be. Let's dive into it, and we're going to start off with Prada Luna Rossa Sport. Now, I do believe this is actually technically a discontinued fragrance. If you look online, the pricing is getting a little bit weird. However, you can get, currently at the time of me posting this, a 100 milliliter tester for about $66, which is not out of the ordinary at all. That's about on par with what it usually is if you use that first link down below. In a lot of other places, it's going to be getting around that price for 50 mil. And if you look on eBay and some other kind of third-party websites where people are reselling stuff, it's in the multiple hundreds. Juniper berries, lavender, vanilla. It's not your typical sport fragrance in that it's a little bit sweet, which is kind of in the opposite direction that a lot of sports scents will go. But I really like it for that reason. Just something a bit different. Even though it is sweet, it is still fresh and clean, and it's just super wearable. Nice, soapy, clean, semi-sweet work scent. And because we do have 12 fragrances here, I do want to try to run through this quickly here. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on every single one of these. Most of these I have covered before, so just search the channel if you want more info. Next up, we have Dolce & Gabbana The One Gray with my wonky cap. Story behind this was that I dropped it. Can you imagine that? Dropped it, and the inside of the cap is cracked, so it doesn't really want to stay on. It just kind of just floats there. It's got vetiver, it's got tobacco, grapefruit. It's the one DNA, but fresher. Made more for the daytime, made more for the work environment. Not that the original version couldn't work for that, because it could, but this works better. It's just a better choice for an everyday wear type of thing. And also one thing that's cool about this particular version is that it's pretty much the cheapest out of all of them. You can get this one for like sometimes $44, $45 for a 100 ml tester, and any Dolce & Gabbana in the mid 40 range is a good pickup. Next up, MONTBLANC STARWALKER, just the eau de toilette original version here. This one's got the signature bamboo note. It's got orange. It's got bergamot, musk. It's just a very light, fresh, and kind of almost tropical scent. It's kind of got a little bit of a vacation smell. Just the bamboo gives off a little bit of a kind of a tropical getaway vacation type of feeling. That's kind of what the feeling that this one gives off, especially with the citruses, the bergamot being kind of a bright note, the orange being a little bit creamy and slightly sweet, and then just a whole bunch of musk in the base. The main deal behind STARWALKER is that it is super wearable and super easy to get along with. It's just a fragrance that is just so likable generally for the masses, both for the wearer and the people around you. And this is also a cheapie as well. You can get this one usually, I don't actually even remember, $30, somewhere around in there. I just know it's a good deal. And it's a scent that has been around and it's talked about a good amount, but it still is an impressive one for the price. Next up, Light Blue Eau Intense by Dolce & Gabbana. So this one here has amberwood, sea notes, sea salt. There's some aromatics kind of in the mid as well. It's another deal where it's been talked about. It's been ran through, right? Everyone knows Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue and also the intense version. But every time I pick this bottle up and I smell it, it still gets me. I'm always like, wow, you know, that is really nice. There's nothing else out there that smells like Light Blue Eau Intense, right? Other than Light Blue, the original. It really is kind of a one-of-a-kind, unique take on this DNA. And one thing that still remains true is that it is a compliment beast that simply works. This is like a tool. It's kind of like a wrench for anyone who is into tools and working on vehicles or whatever. If you like to turn a wrench, right? A wrench, it works. It never stops working unless you lose it or you break it, which I don't know, unless you're getting mad and beating it on the concrete or something because you dropped a bolt or something. It's just a tool that will work until the end of time. This type of thing here can never go out of style, and it just kind of amazes me. You know, each time I smell it, it smells great. After all of the other things I've smelled, it still holds up. Up next, we have Calvin Klein DEFY. So just recently, I saw that a flanker was released, I believe, an eau de parfum. And so I'm waiting to get my hands on that. I knew, of course, I was going to be coming. We all did, right? You don't have to be a genius to predict that. It's a Calvin Klein after all. Now, this one here has notes of bergamot. It's got vetiver. It has amber. Heavy on the vetiver. And the way I describe this one, easiest way is that it kind of opens up with a little bit of a Y eau de parfum, eau de toilette smell. You know, kind of that sweetness with the citrus, but goes very vetiver heavy in the dry down, like a lot. This is a situation where if you spray it on skin, you smell it and immediately go, oh, it's YEDP, redundant, throw it away, or you spray it on paper or the air, whatever, and you just don't give it a chance, then you're misrepresenting the scent and you're leaving false reviews. And that happens all the time on Fragrantica and comments. You got to wear stuff into the dry down. The first time I tried it, I was like, yeah, this is very, very similar to Y eau de parfum. And it is, but the further you get into the dry down, the further it sways away from Y eau de parfum and gets into its own vetiver soapy scent. It's really quite interesting. For a fragrance that at some point is going to be a cheapie, it's got a lot of depth and it goes through a lot of transitions. It's a really nice one that you can't go wrong with. DUNHILL Icon Racing. I remember when this came out and immediately was just kind of shunned. I had to look at this because it doesn't look green in real life right now as I'm looking at it because the lights are shining at me, but in the camera, it very much does look green. Just had to make sure I had the right thing. It kind of looks black, and I do have DUNHILL Icon Elite, which is in a black bottle. Orange blossom, lavender, and grapefruit. Really cool detail here on the top. Got some racing stripes. A little bit of an Invictus type of thing going on. Invictus Aqua, whatever. But with less of an aquatic note and more focus on the sweetness and kind of some of the florals. Good dose of spiciness in here as well. For what it is, I enjoy it. Now, it's not one of my favorites, but that's not the goal of this video. It's to focus on blind buy safe fragrances that just about everyone will, at the very least, think smells pleasant and will get compliments, and that's what this one does. One thing that does remain true is the presentation is absolutely beefy. It's satisfying to pick this one up, snap the cap into place. Just the whole thing about it has some serious weight to it, and it's usually around $44, $45 online, so not all that expensive either. Speaking of not that expensive, we have Kenneth Cole Mankind Hero. So this one has notes of mountain air, lemon, lavender, clary sage, and vanilla. So yeah, they literally went to the top of Mount Everest and took a sample of the air and then just shoved it into this. It's kind of strange, but it's kind of gimmicky. I kind of actually like it. And you know, they're appealing to the average consumer and not us with that note breakdown. To be fair, though, it does kind of give off this airy type of feel. You get the vanilla further on down the road. It's kind of a mixture of starting off fresh and then ending up more on the sweet and warm side, which I do enjoy. Another one that has a surprising amount of life to it and depth. You know, it's not completely linear, so that's pretty cool. It's another cheapie that works well. Nice compliment getter. The brand itself, in terms of fragrances, doesn't get a whole lot of talk or recognition. But but they do have a few good ones, and this is one of them. Got a newer release up next. This one is Invictus Platinum by Paco Rabanne. So this one here has notes of mint, absinthe, cypress, lavender, aromatics with some green accords and some sweetness, as you would imagine from Invictus, right? And for what it's worth, I do like it, at least in terms of the Invictus line. I would take this over the original. I would take this over Legend, right? Would I take this over the Intense? Probably. It depends, right? But I do think it's a nice release. I ranked this one a 7 out of 10 when I ranked new releases for this year, and I still stick with that. I think, you know, they kind of went a step in the right direction with this one. It is still Invictus leaning. It still has that Invictus personality, but toned back a little bit. And again, we're focusing more on aromatics. The point is, it's just blind buy safe, right? If you're someone that just wants compliments, you want wearable, you want versatility, and something that is from a big brand, this is a nice one to go with. If you feel like being bad, well, then you can go with Bad Intense by Diesel. So this one has white tobacco. It's got woody notes, nutmeg, and I believe this is the one that also has caviar. It's a nice little note in there. A lot of nutmeg comes through for sure. You get it off the atomizer. This hasn't been sprayed in a while. You can smell it. You especially get it when you spray it up in the air. Yeah, warm and spicy. The white tobacco is kind of more of just a light florally tobacco smell versus, you know, like a spice bomb type of tobacco or a red tobacco, right? Mancera red tobacco. It's just more of a fresh iteration of that, kind of sticking with the more designer level, super mass pleasing trend. You get a lot of woods in here, kind of a sandalwood, smooth creaminess, that sort of thing. I've liked this one since the beginning, and I actually really like the original Diesel Bad as well. And actually, the first place that I smelled the original was in a magazine. Like literally, you peel it back and smell it. That's where I smelled it. And from there, I liked it. But you also get that magazine paper smell. So anyone who has smelled stuff from the magazine, you know, you're not really getting the most accurate representation. Later on down the road, eventually I got the real deal, you know, in a bottle form and smelled it and still do really like it. If I had to choose one, it would be the Intense. You know, it's a little bit more interesting while still being very mass pleasing and a great blind buy. Extreme Sky by Michael Kors is up next. This was the first one that I got from their Extreme lineup, and it's got cypress, it's got ozonic notes, some nice citrus going on in here. Really pleasant, really nice. I mean, while it's not like a super interesting scent, it's also kind of a step into the more unique realm, you know, not going full on, right, to the point where you're getting into niche level stuff or anything like that. But, you know, you've got mainstream right here in the middle, and then this is kind of over here towards the direction of being a little bit more unique. It's airy, it's bright, but it also has a good citrus bergamot kind of tart pop in here as well. Nice balance. It's just super pleasant, super clean and fresh, and very versatile. Almost done. 11th fragrance, we have HARAMAIN's DETOUR Noir. So this one has vanilla. It's got that signature apple smell, lavender, cinnamon, all that stuff. Of course, it's a Layton clone for about $26, $29, something like that. I absolutely love this. I was not expecting a whole lot out of this one. I did pay for it with my own money, a whole whopping $29, $30, whatever I paid for it. I got it from Fragrance Buy. I've done a review. This was a little while ago. Just because it was getting hyped up. People were requesting it. I was curious about it. And again, given the price point, I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. Because Layton, $230, something like that. And of course, we know niche has a big markup. It's not all just from quality. But still, after you've smelled so many cheap things, you're used to seeing that cheap price tag and be like, I'm not so sure about that. Because I have a lot of cheap things that just didn't turn out well for me. But this turned out so far above and beyond my expectations that I still can't believe it. That spray I just did there smells amazing. It is very close to Layton with a real nice focus on that vanilla note especially, and I love it. I mean, I'll literally spray this in rooms. Like I'll spray it down here, just whatever, to make the room smell good. and it smells fantastic. It smells like fall time. It smells like Layton. So that way I don't have to waste my actual Layton spraying in the room, which is just kind of silly. I mean, I can use this as an air freshener and it smells great. And I can also wear it. I wear this one in the evenings before bed a lot of times, just because it's a nice wind down scent. And that way I don't have to feel like I'm wasting Layton by spraying it on a couple hours before bed and then sleeping and it gets worn off throughout the night. I can go for something like this. Great blind buy at this price point, and it gets you into a niche smelling product that is still mass pleasing and a big compliment getter. And last up, we have Stronger With You Only. So this one has vanilla, chestnut, and a nice grapefruit top note. This one kind of caught a little bit of flack when it first came out. And personally, I'm not there with it. I really like it. You get a real nice bite in the opening from the grapefruit mixing with a little bit of, I believe, a geranium in here, and then some of the sweetness coming through, the vanilla, the chestnut. This is going to essentially take the place of Stronger With You Freeze, I believe, because I do think that one's discontinued, which does suck, by the way. I do like it, and I would choose that one in certain instances over this. So I don't like that they're replacing it, but I do like this one though. And it's a deal where they brought back the chestnut. They're sticking with that, which is what I think makes this DNA so special. That's why I like the original, why I like Absolutely. They're keeping it here, but they're just freshening it up a little bit more. Not as fresh as Freeze, but it's fresher than all of the other versions besides that one, So it's kind of where this one fits. And as soon as Freeze is gone and completely discontinued and out of stock, this will be the freshest in the line, at least as of right now. And I really like it. I like that spicy kick. I like the sweet vanilla chestnut dry down. It's just one that's worked really well for me. I've had good luck with it. And I think if you're wanting to blind buy one of them and get into the line, this is a really nice option. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 12 blind buy fragrances that you can never go wrong with. If you pull the trigger on any of these, you're going to win for sure. Links will be down below to discounters, and make sure you check the community tab, get subscribed, watch out for deals, save a lot of money. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.